Hi. Okay. Hello and hello, friends. How you doing?
Oh, I feel great today.
Good.
I really do. I'm excited to talk about this.
Good. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about the drama triangle.
The dreaded
Drama triangle. And whereas as actresses and writers and such, drama can be a fun and helpful tool. It's not in your actual life.
In your actual life, not so much. No, keep it. Let it be for the soaps.
Yeah, there you go.
I like the drama
there.
there.
Yes, and it's high drama.
Blake wouldn't have existed without drama. She lived for drama, fueled by drama.
Exactly. So, why don't you tell us what the drama triangle is?
The drama triangle. Well, this is important to me because this is yet again one awareness and tool that turned everything around for me and made it work for me instead of against it. So
originally from Dr. Stephen Cartman. Right?
Absolutely. So this is it comes from the work of Stephen Cartman, who was a psychotherapist who described the triangle in the late 1960s.
Yes.
Okay. I'm actually reading the synopsis.
You think we'd be all better by now?
I know. From the 60s, please. No, we never learn, do we? It's from a book called The Power of TED, T-E-D, The Empowerment Dynamic by David Emerald.
That's the opposite of the drama triangle.
Yeah, the empowerment. Well, we'll talk about that later. But I want to read how he describes it because it's perfect and it's simple. So it involves 3 roles, and when you're in the drama triangle, you're playing one of these 3 roles always. Something, and so the idea is to understand what the roles are so you can identify. So here's the deal. You're in a situation, and he says, David Emerald says, the central role is victim. Victim is when I feel as if other people or situations are acting upon me and I can't do anything about it. Sometimes it feels like being attacked, and sometimes it's just a hardship. I might feel mistreated or discounted and maybe out of control.
I've also heard it said anxiety-led.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Anything that causes anxiety.
Yeah.
And
it's being controlled by that. That's what's making your choices. Is anxiety.
So fear as well.
Yeah.
So that's the first role, victim. I know it well. We'll talk about that.
I think we all might.
The second role is persecutor or perpetrator in a situation of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
The persecutor is the perceived cause of the victim's woes.
Right.
Okay, now that can be
perceived being the key word there.
Yes. It could be a person or a condition.
Right.
It could be, well, we're going to talk about that too, but it can be an illness that says, I have diabetes. That's my persecutor. It's making me feel,
right.
It's taking away all of my choices in life.
And making you a victim.
And making me perceive myself as a victim. Mm-hmm. Okay, the third role is rescuer. The one who intervenes on behalf of the victim to deliver the victim from harm by the persecutor. Okay. So
much to unpack.
So here's what just happened, and that I want to talk about, and a very safe situation that hopefully we're not going to talk about anything that's going to trigger abuse, guys. This is not what we're interested, because we're interested in feeling better. But so here's where I am often feeling victimized in my life, and it's in the kitchen. It's cooking.
I don't mean to laugh, but no, it's a big one though. But it's a big. Cooking is a big issue.
So the deal is, all right, I was raised by a lovely, fabulous mother who was Irish. She does not know how to cook. Sorry, all you Irish people, but seriously, didn't know how to cook. So I never learned any tools, or I knew nothing. And so it was always an insecurity for me. And I happened to marry an amazing chef and cook.
You were saying you didn't even boil water until you were 20 or something.
Oh, I didn't know how to make pasta. I think I was 25 years old when I learned
Just to really give the parameters of the story.
how to make
It's important.
pasta. Are you serious? All you have to do is boil water and throw it in there and wait like 8 minutes and it's done? Really? Oh my God. I thought everything came out of a box or a can. It's so sad. I didn't put two and two together. So anyway, yeah. So I was definitely coming from a deficit. So anyway, I was set up to feel victimized. But then I married Bobby, who's this amazing chef who was raised by his, learned how to cook from his Italian grandmother who came from Italy, and like fresh sauce and fresh everything. Can do everything, and that's his area of expertise and his area of control. And I love you, Bobby, but we're going to talk about you. And I mean, it was almost in the vows, like, you do all the cooking and I'll just sit back and like, watch you. Okay, I'll clean. So anyway, so I'm feeling, well, basically, he perpetuates it because he becomes the rescuer in the kitchen. So I'm in the kitchen, I'm deciding to cook for the first time since, my kids finally leave and go to college, and there's a little bit of space in the house and maybe no one there to judge me.
Yeah.
And I'm actually like, I'm starting to cook. It makes no sense, but this is
The judgment of your children can be crippling.
This is my process. So I'm there and I'm making chili. I'm making fresh turkey chili for my girlfriends and me. And he comes in and to the kitchen and sees what I'm doing and just immediately comes in, turns down the this is too high, this is gonna burn, you need to do this here, no, it needs this, and I have not asked for help. I'm like doing my own little thing, and immediately I become defensive and anxiety, and I start contracting, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not enough, and I'm terrible, and I don't know what I'm doing, because I immediately take the role of victim. That's me being victim. That's him coming in and rescuing me.
Right. Thinking
he's helping. And then I get irritated and I get...
so why are we fighting when all I did,
because I was like, stop it. Like, don't do that, And then he turns around and says, I'm just trying to help. Why are you mad at me? So, and notice what happened here. I was victim, he was rescuer. And on a dime, he flipped from being the rescuer to being the victim. On a dime, he suddenly went, how come you're mad at me? Okay, so this is sort of how it plays out in that dynamic in the kitchen.
And with cooking being the persecutor.
Cooking's the persecutor. Isn't that interesting? It's a condition. Just the idea of the kitchen cooking, that is what I feel is doing me wrong. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's attacking me. I feel attacked if you ask me to go in there and like Thanksgiving comes and I start to shake. Like, what's my job? What do I have to do? Like, it's immediately I go into a role of victim of don't make me do this. It's so disempowering.
And the rescuer, even though they think what they're doing is about you and helping you, very often what it is it's about proving themselves that you're going,
of course.
No, this is, I know how to do this right. And there's as you say, with the control, there's so few places where you feel like, oh yeah, no, I definitely know what's right. This is where I rock, and this kind of slightly how I feel in the kitchen, but it is, and then as you say, robbing you of the experience.
Right.
So that then you're continually in that I am lesser than.
So I never learn.
Yeah.
And I never feel comfortable to learn. Yeah. So the deal is, once you realize that this drama triangle actually exists, because most people don't realize they're in it, they just automatically, like, they're triggered, and so they automatically respond in that way, and this is what perpetuates fights and that kind of thing. Yeah. So what literally has healed and saved so many fights in my life, and especially in my marriage, is when first of all, I had to recognize every time I was feeling a victim, because that's what you can have control over. You can't control somebody else coming in to rescue you, but you can control how you perceive yourself within a situation. And like, for instance, if we go back to my guiding light story in the very beginning, that's what changed everything, is when I recognized, like, wow, I'm feeling like such a victim. And I'm sick of myself feeling like this. I'm so victimized. How can I take control over the situation? I can decide how I'm going to feel during.
Right. Well, as they say, the victim being, as if things are happening to you.
Right.
Right. To you. You are not a participant in this.
And you have no power.
Right.
They have all the power.
Yeah.
When you're a victim, when you're seeing things through the lens of victimhood, something else has the power. And I'm not talking about, like, being victimized for real in life.
No.
Like, when truly there's a difference between, you have been victimized in an abusive situation. I'm talking about viewing a situation or a condition, a dynamic, like cooking, through the eyes of victimhood.
Yeah.
It changes the
Well, and as you
energy
said,
of
like
it.
with guiding light, it wasn't an actual abusive relationship, but I mean,
No.
even though they were definitely taking your power, but it was how you perceived yourself.
Right.
It was the woe is me. It was the, oh, I shouldn't take up any space. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to get in anyone's way
feels
because
good.
I'm not very good and I'm not good enough and they're showing me I'm not good enough.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm just going to be invisible over here. And making yourself a victim, even though somebody was trying to take your power, you still, you helped.
Yeah. I said,
You
oh,
contributed.
here, I'll hand it over to you
Yeah.
on a silver platter.
Yeah.
I'll serve it to you. Yeah. So, what do you do about this?
I don't know. Tell me.
No, this is what just is so, gets me so excited. I get so excited because it's about inverting it, turning it around, and taking control or ownership of your thoughts, your feelings. And it's the only thing you can control is your response to something. And you can change everything by that. See, this is when I start, I don't know, it almost gets sexy for me. I'm like, oh guys, this is real power.
It's your jam.
I really like it. So you've got the role of victim. So what's the antidote to victim? Would be to be the creator, to find the solution. Like, and this is basically accepting what is, not fighting what is, but just going, okay, so this exists. I don't know anything about cooking. I'm living with somebody who's the expert who really loves to show me how to do it, to the extent that I'm never really given the space to do it myself. Sorry. And so, but I'm going to be the creator. So it's basically, I have to ask for what I want. I'm going to say, hey, I don't, I would like you to not be in the kitchen while I do this. I would like my own space. This is something I'm going to surprise you. Okay? This is my gift to you. Leave me alone.
And human beings, we've found, really do learn from experience.
Yeah.
Not from being told.
Yeah.
The Socratic method of, let me tell you how to cook, is not necessarily as helpful as burning something.
No. Just like when you came over on my birthday and taught me how to use my sewing machine.
Absolutely.
My new sewing machine. But I asked for your help. I said, how do you thread this bobbin? This is what always stops me from using a sewing machine.
So you had there was anxiety about the new machine and
Right.
about threading a bobbin.
Right.
But then you reached out and asked for
Said,
help.
I need help.
So that
from
turns
my
that anxiety
sewist friends
into
who are
knowledge. Yeah. Shout out to Jen Lee. That, and also taught you to make 2 bobbins at all times.
Well, see, so there's the victim. I went, no, I'm going to create a solution. I'm going to ask for some help by my incredibly knowledgeable seamstress friends, right? And then instead of rescuing, instead of like you immediately coming and going, here, let me show you how to do this. You don't know how to do this, so I'll do it. I'll do it for you. I'll make all your bobbins for you. You went, this is how first you had to figure out how to do it.
We figured out how to do it.
Figured it out, and then you said, okay, this is what you do, and you got A, B, C, D, and E, and then you said, here, now you thread this bobbin, and you thread 2 more. And made me do it. And it was wonderful. I learned there was space. I learned you coached me instead of rescued me. There's the antidote to rescuing.
Yeah.
You just held space. You waited for me to ask, so you didn't step in before I asked. And then you said, okay, yes, I would love to. And then held this amazingly non-judgmental, compassionate space. There might have been wine involved. So it was extra fun.
Definitely.
Could have done the bobbin threading dance while it was happening. But anyway, so there's that. And then sewing, okay, so which used to be the persecutor. I don't know how we moved from cooking to sewing, but we just did. So I never
There's
went
so
to
many
an
drama
economic
triangles.
class, guys. Never. So sewing was instead of the persecutor, right? So sewing, the sewing machine, anything mechanical basically is the persecutor in my life, becomes a challenge. There's the antidote. I'm going to challenge myself to overcome my insecurity about this, and so I just said, what's the solution? I'm going to create a solution. I'm going to ask for advice. So now I've got a helper, I've got a coach, and it's now a challenge. Now I'm challenging myself to make a quilt, and I'm challenging myself to do something other than straight seams and all that kind of thing. And the same thing happened with my cooking.
Yeah, no, and it's also interesting because you can have that, you can remain a victim and ask for help, kind of, by kind of doing the come save me.
Oh, and yes, you can, but you know what happens? You know what happens. Because the minute you do that, like, come save me, and then somebody comes in and does it, and then you turn around and you get resentful.
Yeah,
Because nobody really wants you to come in and sweep and take away all your power.
No.
You don't really want that. You just think you do, and then you don't. Then you're like, okay, go away now.
Yeah. No, and I find that I think that happens in male-female relationships a lot. And people talk about it in terms of, I'm just sharing my problems with you. I don't want you to fix them. And that's so hard. You know what I mean? It's very...
Oh my God, isn't that impossible for a male? So I love all of the men watching.
Big fans.
I'm a huge fan of men, okay?
Me too.
Huge fan of women and fan of men, but when you guys feel the need to have to fix everything, makes me crazy. Because that's what, for the most part, I hate to gender.
Well, no, and it stems from the systemic damsel in distress male, hero that steps in and saves the day.
Yeah.
And
I just want you to listen.
Yeah, but also what I'm saying is that there is also that thing where you go like, oh, geez, come, instead of changing my own tire, come change my tire for me, and that's
cultural.
Yes, but then it's also perpetuating your own victimhood, and then you get resentful and angry when they step in and go, I'll take care of this. And you're like, wait, no, I didn't know. Hold on. Yeah. Teach me how to change the tire.
Yeah. Thank God, though.
I know.
I know my daughter's growing up totally different. Thank God she's won't stand for that. But I know I was of a generation where that actually was perpetuated by my parents.
Yeah.
So
I was actually surprised that you didn't take home economics. No, I didn't take home economics because I was born and raised in Greenwich Village in the 1970s. So there was, home ec was, thought of as a
I grew up in California. I don't know what happened to our home ec classes. I think I remember taking a sewing class at one point. But then again, my sister was such a good seamstress. Oh, my sister Mary, she's amazing. She runs an amazing theater in North Carolina, and does all the classes. And she does everything.
My sister makes an excellent pie crust.
Yeah,
and I do.
So I think, I'm always surrounded by these people. I grew up with these people who either could or couldn't, and I don't know. Why is that? This is really interesting. I gotta figure this one out.
Well, I
never learned the sewing myself.
In terms of sewing, and we've discussed that I now costume shows.
Yeah,
I taught myself how to sew several years ago.
Really?
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
Only 3 years ago?
3 or 4 years ago.
I you serious?
Completely
You are
self-taught.
fully making costumes now. I mean, you were doing everything.
Yes, I made dresses and pants and things. I'm not fantastic. I'm not sure
So-
if you'd want to wear them for a year or two, but yeah, I definitely can make it for a run.
For a costume till they split
Month.
open after
Sure.
you know the ninth dance act. So what caused you? What was your incentive? What made you decide to learn how to sew? What was that? I'm so curious.
Well, I had inherited all of these vintage and antique textiles, and they had some damage to them, and so in the antique world, everyone said, "Oh, well, they're worthless. You know, they're not worth any money once they're faded in this corner or ripped or whatever." And I thought, "Oh my God, that's so terrible. They're fantastic. They're phenomenal, and I can see if I can do something with just this part of it or that part of it." Or so I took all these quote unquote damaged textiles that that nobody else saw value in, and I started working with them. I also taught myself how to use a circular saw and a chalk saw.
That's so cool.
And it was to
That's
do
a
that.
gift. The discern
And
eye.
I decided to. Well, I can. You know, it's one of the things as a former preschool teacher. I also said that was one of my gifts was to be able to look at something and see it differently than other people do. But yeah, and then my husband bought me a sewing machine. And he said, "You should sew that stuff, right? You're sewing it by hand or using fusible webbing." And I was like, "Huh, okay." So,
But see, this is where you were not part of the drama triangle. Not that you ever felt victimized by it, but you could have. You could have
Yeah.
said, "I can't do that. I don't know how
Sure.
to do that."
Sure.
And you found a solution.
I'm a victim in all sorts of other places in my life. Don't worry.
Well, okay, so this is amazing. This truly is. This is another 24-hour challenge.
Oh yeah, this is good.
We like 24-hour challenges because it's like I can only take it day by day, actually minute by minute.
Yes.
Honestly.
It's also tangible. It's a way that you can see in your actual
Yeah.
day-to-day life, as it were.
Acknowledge, identify. Well, first identify when you're playing victim.
Right.
That's the number one, because that changes everything. The minute,
Really important.
that's when you realize you're actually in the drama triangle. Because you don't have to be. You don't at all. There's a large part of my life that I don't enter it. And it's been the healthiest thing that's ever happened. And I don't do it with friends now. And I try not to. I try not to catch, I catch myself.
I noticed that. I mean, it's very good. I'm still bad. I still play rescuer often.
Oh, you are challenged with the rescuer role. Yes, you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you.
But it also kind of slightly stems from my own victimhood if I feel like I don't do anything right. So when I feel like I have something to contribute, I'm like, "Oh, let me save that because I can do that." And
Well,
it's like,
this
geez,
game
that's not helping anybody.
This game, victim and rescuer are just the flip side.
Yeah,
It's the same coin. It's just the opposite side. It's that's what's
I'm
fascinating.
like Two-Face and Batman.
Yeah.
But yes, you were saying the 24-hour challenge
Oh,
is
24-hour
to
challenge. Catch
identify.
Identify when you're playing victim, because that will be the thing that is alerting you to the fact that you're actually in the drama triangle. And then identify the other roles. Like, what do I feel I'm being persecuted by? Is it a situation? Is it a person? Is it a boss? Is it a condition in my life? And then you can question that and find out you might be the persecutor in somebody else's triangle. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because sometimes, like for instance, if I don't enter into it and I'm watching something happening with a member of my family and they want to be the victim and they want me to come in and rescue them, and I don't, because I'm not going to enter it, they can then perceive me as the persecutor. And I have to allow that to happen.
Oh, it's so
And that's where they're just going to have to feel that way, because if I'm making a choice not to enter this and enter into their drama, and I actually have to not be the rescuer. I can just hold space and go, I can understand what you're feeling, and I feel for you, and you want to talk about it, and I'm happy to listen, but I'm not going to come and fix it for you. And people can get mad at you.
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
Yeah, so that's where the pushback comes.
And there's a difference of giving advice and rescuing too.
Big
you know
difference.
what I mean?
It's the bobbin.
Right. Yeah.
It's
exactly.
It's threading the bobbin, and
Or as you say,
showing
like
you
with your children, it's a very, you know what I mean. You have to be able to be there and listen, and as you say, hold space for that. You can say, well, have you considered this or that?
Yeah, ask questions.
But you can't step in and do it for
fix
them.
it for them.
Yeah. Do it for them, fix it for them, intervene in any way. Because also, as you say, it's a slippery triangle. It's all a slippery
The
triangle.
only thing I'm allowed
Being
to
one of these three things at any given point.
Yeah, well, I'm allowed to intervene when my husband's wearing clothes that are inappropriate to a party, that are his work clothes. When he's wearing work clothes in real life, because he's a builder, and he wears work clothes all the time. Everybody makes fun. I'm allowed to intervene there and go, you cannot wear that mock turtleneck with holes in it.
I think that yes, there's some issues in marriage that have their own drama. It's true, but it's as I say, it is a slippery slope, because you'll find also within those 24 hours that you may be playing all three of those roles at any given moment.
Yeah, and you could be hired on the next, General Hospital episode. You're the next star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're dramatic enough in your own way. Well, so there we go. We give you that challenge, and we hope we've unpacked the drama triangle in a way that you can start to help to identify in your life to help you feel better, and remember the creator, the creator, the challenge, and the coach, basically, instead of the rescuer. Yeah. You can step out of it and you can create your dynamic. Your I think it's helpful to see where you want to go, but yes,
absolutely, because it's one thing to go, okay, I'm being victim, but then what do I do instead?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to know.
And now what?
Well, that's another thing we're going to talk about later, is about where you put your focus. It's like, do I want to continue being victim? And so if I don't, well, what do I do? The important thing is to keep moving and going towards what you want to feel like, and that's part of the
journey.
And then all this wonderful, interesting stuff that led to my just getting out, moving past guiding light, allowing myself to survive in the acting world, and with my head on my shoulders and sanity, and these waves of unbelievable joy and happiness. Waves. It's not always. But it's waves at least. At least I'm in the sea.
Sometimes you have to wait for your set, but they'll come. Well, okay then. So there's our breakdown of the drama triangle, and I hope it helps to help you all feel better.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I want to hear about it.
Yeah,
I want to hear what others have to say about this, and when they find themselves
comment for us and
victimhood or not. Yeah, and any questions about it. Sometimes you don't even know, what role am I playing? I'm not really quite sure.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. Okay, thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks for spending time with us.
Again.
As always, you can find us at letsallfeelbetter.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Let's All Feel Better.
And watch us on our YouTube channel. You guessed it, Let's All Feel Better.